Chosen One!
Welcome to The Chosen One. I am your host, Qui-Gon Din, and today I'm going to be doing a little bit of meta-analysis. In the current state of the game, I believe I have a pretty good indication of how solved the meta is. The Evergreen Open just happened. I did not do as well as I hoped. I was one struggle away from getting into Top Cut, but it was a fun event, and I can definitely say with the data we got, I think I can say how solved is our current meta. So we're going to look at the big three factions and a rogue list that appeared at Evergreen Open. This is going to be taking a look at current trends from the past like 4 GTs we have had. And top dog is currently going to be Cassian. It doesn't matter which variant of Cassian you're playing. If you are playing Captain, Cassian Andor, Baze and Turret, and Rebel Commandos as your package, it doesn't matter what your other primary or your other secondaries are. I believe you are playing a top of meta list, because those three together, Baze with Rebel Commandos and Andor, those three together are going to just be an insane package. And you can play that with Kanan, with Jin, with PLC. Luke can be put in there. If you have those combination, it doesn't matter what your secondaries are or what your other primary is. Those three are going to put in so much work in that match that you have a top tier list that is a contender for a GT level event. I do think Andor's going to win Nova. I think it's not even going to be close. I think Andor's going to probably represent a good chunk of Top Cut. That right now there is not a lot of stuff that can play into Andor fully as well. There's probably a couple lists to watch out for. But for the most part, Andor has a huge advantage right now. Baze and Turret are kind of the package they were missing, and they just do everything that they need to do. Up next, down the list, I think Republic is still at a very good slot. They are still very competitive. I think they are the second best tag in the game right now. I think they have, of all the other tags, they probably have the most options into Andor, and that is with Mundi variants or with Mace, or not Mace, with Obi variants. I think if you're playing an Obi list or a Mundi list that is more designed around control, Anakin comes to mind. Anakin into Andor is a possible match, as long as you're not put on Nevertell. Nevertell kind of messes up your chances. This is where Mace with Pawns with Mundi can really kind of go into Cassian a bit. At best, they are 50-50s, I feel, because Cassian can just overpower your units in a Kenobi list. The wild card in the meta is going to be Boss. We don't know where Boss is going to land yet. He's kind of coming in with a splash, but he was a thud at the Evergreen Open. I played him in one game, and I played it one game and ended up going up in Andor. It was either going to be in Andor or Anakin, and I lost List Chicken with that. And getting beaten List Chicken got me the loss, because I feel Boss into Anakin Mundi is good. I don't think Boss into Andor is a good matchup. Definitely had some huge disadvantages. Mace in that game was my most valuable piece. He actually did the most work because of his displacement abilities. And that's just a general thing. Into the other like big meta contender, I feel it's going to be Empire. Right now we're looking at Grand Inquisitor, Iden Versio, and then like Moff Gideon control variants. Empire's kind of become this hybrid list where it's playing some aggression but a lot of control mixed in, and it's kind of now a jack of all trades, kind of all comers list. You're not focusing 100% on attrition anymore. Grand Inquisitor is all about the control, and you got to really know how to leverage those abilities. I do think that they are still viable, but they are definitely they don't have as many options right now into the current meta because Andor is such a counterpick to Empire right now. Because two of these three primaries you want to wound to get your advantage. With Grand Inquisitor, you need Force Refresh, you need to wound. Iden's whole identity is based on wounding, and that's going to be an issue. We're in this format right now where the trends are seeing that it is less of a like specific primary versus primary matchup, and it's more kind of a tag matchup. I believe we're still in a rock paper scissors format, and it comes down to tag. Empire has a lot of good play into Republic because Empire can cut loose. They have no repercussions for wounding anything in Republic, so they can go all out, which kind of gives them some play into what Republic is trying to do, which Republic is trying to maintain board control and displacement at this current game. Republic isn't the I'm going to wound everything. This is where Boss is kind of the outlier. Boss is the attrition list for Republic. But when you're looking at these Jedi lists, they want to maintain board state on the board and control the board. Play the control game, play the displacement game, play the scoring game. They're still not the most attrition heavy thing. Anakin can slap, Mace can slap when he needs to, but that's not the full game plan. The full game plan here is control. Where Republic is going to have some play into is going to be the Cassian lists. These revenge trigger lists, and it's still like 50-50, but they have more play into the Rebel matchup than Empire does currently, because Republic can play the displacement game and remove K2SO from a point with Shaak Ti or Ki-Adi-Mundi. You can play the Obi game and just be really defensive on points. And Rebels are just going to be good into most things as an all-comers, but into Empire specifically, they can wound Empire and have no repercussions, but Empire has an issue wounding them because they get Kanan triggers and Andor triggers, PLC triggers. They have to really pick and choose their wounds. Rebels just get to play as aggressive as they want into that list, and the stuff just melts. Again, not saying that Empire can't beat Rebels. This is just saying that there is an inherent advantage of Rebels going into Empire right now, and that there are some advantages into Republic going into Rebels, and then there are advantages of Empire going into Republic. I wouldn't call these game-breaking advantages. I would call them micro advantages. It's going to push the needle like a couple points in your favor if you have these matchups. But at the end of the day, the meta is so open-ended on list building right now that these factions are really opened up. The factions that are struggling right now are the factions that don't have options. The tags like Separatists. Speaking of Rift Tamsin had a kind of sad showing at Evergreen Open, but he had a really good pairing that actually did make top cut, and this list was actually fairly solid. It's the Rift box with Mando, Dengar, and Pirates. I think this is the way going forward for Rift Tamsin. I think you're going to see him in Scoundrel shells, really shells that are going to allow you to take advantage of the reserve mechanics. Dengar and Nasirai provide these these reserve mechanics that allow you to have really consistent activations. You can pop Mando in for free, and then Nasirai can pop him over Mando. Mando goes back to the bottom of the deck, so Mando can be absolutely perfectly set up for where he needs to go. There's just a lot of play, and it allows you to really set up Riff to do what he wants to do, and it's probably the one way you'll see Riff in the meta. I do not think it's under a Separatist shell. I think it's under a Scoundrel shell, and I think that's where you're going to see Riff in the future. He's kind of a wild card right now. He's kind of got a low win rate, but I think as soon as people start figuring this out with the scoundrel setup, weak white pirates with him are very, very solid. He gets to start doing a lot of stuff. He's not an attrition piece. He is a kind of mid-range piece. In the late game, he starts killing stuff, but what he's doing is he's kind of maintaining the field, getting onto points, getting the position. You're generally playing him on his more defensive side because it has heals, and that way you can keep him healthy and you can just keep jumping around. That's kind of how you want to play Riff. He is kind of like a more easy version of Cad Bane to set up that doesn't have the force cost. He's very solid. Mando means that when your stuff goes down, the revenge trigger. The Aqua Droids are probably the best unit in the box. They actually perform very well. The weakness in this list is Nosarai's activation is going to either make or break your game. Like Stormtrooper Sergeant, a bad Nosarai turn can absolutely wreck your game plan. The strength is that every other activation in this list is super consistent at what it's trying to do, and it's very much a mid-range kind of list. I put it on the table once, and I instantly saw what it was starting to do with the with the reserve mechanics. Very good. The meta is so open right now with list building that these are just kind of the big takeaways from the recent events. I think Andor is the biggest meta contender right now. This package of having Rebel Commandos and Base and Turret with Andor is such a strong package. It's kind of best of class of utilizing your supports to make a huge impact. And then the thing that really AMG needs to address one thing on Andor, and it is the blow the town. You should not be able to trigger that if you win a struggle. It adds a bad play experience when you win the struggle and then you're adding 2 to 3 damage on top of that to every unit that's contesting a point of your opponents. It makes it, I think Andor probably, I'll have to go in and look at the actual individual games, but I think Andor has probably more 2-0s than any other primary in the game. So he's definitely, in my opinion, the top of meta, and I don't think that's a hot take. I think Rebels are in a very, very good spot. I think Jin, PLC, Kanan, any of those types of just characters, pick your flavor of primary and secondaries, and you put it with that package, and you have a list to watch out for. Thank you for watching this episode of The Chosen One, a Star Wars Shatterpoint podcast. If you want to catch the next video, you can watch the one linked above, or you can just go and listen to the podcast on the playlist below. Please like and subscribe. Thank you for your support.